Wakey, wakey, rise and shine. Get the little sleepies out of the eyes today. What's up, my friends? The TD Impact Show is back, and today is going to be another great episode. And I've got a great friend, Leslie Trujillo, today, who you are going to find so much tremendous value from. She coached with the national championship USC football team with Pete Carroll. She talks about some highlights there. She played Division I tennis. She's a mom. She's a professor. She's a coach. She's a podcaster. She's an author, and you're in for a real treat. You know, one of the questions I often get is, out of all the roles that I wear, which of the roles do I most cherish? And that's always hard to pick because each and every one of the roles that we wear are important, right? But one of the roles that means the most to me is the role of being a coach. The role of being a coach. And I get the opportunity to coach in many different ways, right? Typically at Fitness Quest 10, my gym, which started 20 years ago, I get to coach and train fitness enthusiasts, weekend warriors, athletes, and I absolutely love that role. I get to coach at the high school, and I do the strength and conditioning, and I'm the quarterbacks coach at our local high school here in San Diego at Scripps Ranch High School. But also for the past 13 years, I've had the opportunity to coach through my own mastermind group. I started that in 2007, and I get to coach some of the finest, most passionate fitness pros and group exercise instructors and entrepreneurs, people who absolutely love the fitness industry and field in my mastermind group. Well, when I started that, it was 2007, and I had just come off of reading Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. And I set an intention. It was one of 7 intentions. And I was just going from a 3,000 square foot facility that I had, and I was taking on an additional 5,000 square feet. So I set an intention because I needed now, all of a sudden, with the expanded expenses and the revenue we needed to generate, I had 7 intentions. And one of those 7 intentions was to start my own mastermind group based on Napoleon Hill concept of being surrounded with a mastermind group, a group of like-minded individuals who had a common goal to create impact. And that's when the mastermind concept was born for the TD Mastermind group. Well, lo and behold, October 2007, we had our very first mastermind meeting. And today's guest, Leslie Trujillo, was one of the 12 people, one of the 12 people on the round table that participated in that 2-day event. Now, you got to listen to this bio because she's an amazing woman. I'm really, really honored to have her on today's show, and I think you're going to love hearing from her and all that she has created and all that she does to give back, not only with the mastermind group, but to so many thousands of people in her networking community now. So check this out. Leslie, often known as Coach C. Trujillo, is an athletic performance and mindset coach, developing champions in all areas of their life. She's also a kinesiology and health professor and strength coach at Los Angeles Harbor College. Leslie has trained Heisman Trophy winners, All-Americans, and national championship teams at Loyola Marymount, Notre Dame, University of Southern California, USC, and at the Yard Performance Center. She's worked with hundreds of high school basketball and volleyball athletes at various schools in the South Bay. Leslie's the host of the Developing Athlete podcast, and she co-authored the book, Dear Her, Letters to Teenage Girls and Young Ladies on Lessons Learned Through Education, Athletics, and Life. And you can get that through Amazon. Leslie has her BS in exercise science and her master's degree, and that allows her to teach at the college. She has a certificate in sports psychology, and she's played Division I tennis at the University of New Mexico, and she's also a master trainer with ZHealth, specializing in movement, the nervous system, and vision training. She lives in the South Bay area of Southern California. She's currently right now in New Mexico on quarantine. She's married to her husband, Jake Trujillo, and they have 2 amazing kids and 1 exchange student. My friends, you are in for a treat to listen to the 2020 Mastermind Trainer of the Year in my mastermind group. And she is an amazing, again, she's a mom, she's a professor, she's a trainer, she's an author, and an all-around wonderful woman. Let's go out now and hear the interview with the one and the only Leslie Trujillo. the one and only Leslie. Coach C. Trujillo is in the house. Leslie, how are you today?
Oh, I'm so great, Todd. It's so great to be here with you.
Man, it's great to see you. I see you right now. We are on Zoom. If you listen to the podcast, we have Leslie in the house, and you're in for a real treat today. Leslie, first off, how's everything going over there in New Mexico?
Man, it's great. Everything is awesome. You know, enjoying the time outside and enjoying the blessings. You know, it is a struggle, but one of my main things is your struggle will become your strength. Mm-hmm. So we are working to find our strength in all this time and find the joy. So we're doing it. The hardest part is homeschooling a 7-year-old while I'm working, but we're making it work.
And your two amazing kids, how old are they? 7 and what?
7 and 15, and we have an exchange student from Colombia living with us, and he's 15, about to be 16. So 3 kids.
So all you moms out there, and dads right now, Leslie, who is an amazing soul, and I've known since 2007. She wears a lot of titles: mom, professor, coach, podcaster, author, trainer. She does it all on that. Leslie, I want to go back. I want to start where it all started. It was October 2007. A lot of people don't know this. So October 2007, I had this intention after reading Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich that I wanted to start a mastermind. So I don't even remember how. I remember putting an email out. The next thing I know, I'm at the Hilton Beach and Tennis Resort in San Diego, and there are 12 people and myself in a room for 2 days. And you were one of those original 12, the 12 disciples, we call them, right? And how did you end up in that room that day?
Man, it was totally God. That's what I say. Because I was taking an online course at San Diego University for sports psychology, and one of your massage therapists, Jamie, was in that course, Jamie Harrow, and I told her my dream of my own business and what I wanted to do, and she suggested I get in the mastermind, and that you were just starting it up. And I didn't believe in myself at that time at all. I was having a lot of troubles in the field of being a professional. I was actually going to give up. I remember going to Nordstrom looking for a job. I was going to leave the field of kinesiology, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this. I need a coach. I need a team, and I'm going to try it. So I applied. I didn't think I was going to get in. I was like, I don't belong here. I'm not good enough. You know, those little fears. But you accepted me. And I was there with these 12 people and showed up, and it changed my life.
Well, you've changed your life because in the 13 years now, you've come a long way and you've done a lot of amazing things. And I wanted to spotlight you today because of all the amazing things that you do, including even earlier in 2020, out of now, it started with 12, and now we've got, several hundred in the mastermind group, you being named the co-trainer of the year with Andrew Simpson, the co-trainer of the year for the mastermind. In 13 years, you've come a long way. So congratulations on that honor. And I know you epitomize what a true professional is.
Thank you. It's part of the mastermind, is totally part of it.
Yeah. Well, you've done a lot of amazing things, Leslie, and going back to that, when you think about 2007 and what you've done, even prior to that, you walk on it at a Division I school and play tennis. You've coached for a national championship football team at USC. You've written the books. Could you impart some wisdom today with all of those different roles? What's been over the last, 2 decades almost, some key principles that you've learned that have helped you achieve so many things?
I think going back to being a walk-in at UNM, one of the main things was to believe in somebody else's belief in you. Because I didn't believe that I was good enough to play at the D1 level. I had coaches that told me I wasn't. I had friends, I had teammates that said I wasn't. I never got any looks, but I had a dad that believed in me. And he called the coach and was like, my daughter wants to try out. And I was like, I do? And I was scared and I was afraid, but I showed up anyway. And so even if you're afraid, you show up. And even if you don't know what's going to happen, you show up. I learned that. And being on the team was one of the best experiences for me because one, I found out the power of coaching. I had a really good coach. Two, I found out the power of team and surrounding yourself with people that are better than you. My game elevated 100% because I was surrounded by an area of growth. And then I also learned that it doesn't matter if I'm not as good as them or I don't have as much experience. You always have something to give. I won the Spirit Award that year because I was like the loudest one. I was cheering for everyone.
That doesn't surprise me at all. You haven't changed a bit.
Yeah, you always do. And then that's where I found strength and conditioning. And that's what changed my life in terms of learning about wanting to help other people. I had a coach that believed in me and said, look, if you're willing to put in the work, then you have an opportunity, right? And so that's what I said. If somebody has a dream or somebody has a goal, I'm going to give them the tools to get there. They have to put in the work, but I'm going to give them the tools to get there. And I need to find out what those tools are. So that started my mission of helping people.
So let me ask you, as a coach now, and you've worked with thousands of athletes, would you say that's one of the things that you do best is instill belief in the athletes in which you work with?
Oh, absolutely. That's number one. So when I'm a strength and conditioning coach, right? I'm not a per se basketball or football or skill coach. So people think that athletes like to work out and some of them don't, right? They like to play their sport, but to actually push themselves to a level of excellence and then to grind and to do the work that they need, not all of them do. So I have to get them to believe that they can push themselves. I have to get them out of their comfort zone, and I have to get them to enjoy it, right? To enjoy the challenge, to enjoy the struggle. And so that's my main goal, is to make sure that they understand that.
So you have this 5C philosophy that when training athletes, what's that all about? Because it's become a legend when you think of Leslie Trujillo, Coach C. What are these 5 C's all about?
So when I meet with my athletes, I talk to them about the 5 C's, but I also have C's that I don't talk about. So the C's I don't talk about is culture, consistency, connection, right? Curiosity, and creativity. Those are things I try to instill with them. I don't talk to them about. The things I do talk about them is being coachable, right? So being willing to be open and to listen and to try something. And then second thing is to communicate. Okay. Communicate with character, right? So character communicate to me is this very similar. So basically showing up early, giving 100% effort, cheering on your teammates, things like that. So we got
coachable, communicate, character.
Coachable, character, communication. We talk about number one, compete, right? Always compete, bring your best. And competition really means to strive together, to work together. So I'm telling them bring your best so that the person next to you brings out their best. Your job is to make each other better, right? In everything that we do. So we talk about that. And then championship mindset. They have to believe it. They have to see it. They have to own it, every day. So when they show up, they're doing that. They're believing in themselves. They're seeing themselves as a champion. They're feeling themselves as a champion. When you watch championship games, at the end of the game, when you talk to them about what's that like? You know what they say? They say, we knew we were going to be here because we prepared for it. We worked for it. Coaches were talking to us. We put in the work. They knew it while they were practicing. So that's what I'm always talking to them about. So
how much of the champion mindset, when you think about the champion mindset, how much of that do you think is spoken versus non-spoken? What do you do as a coach to instill that? Is it they are reading your energy and they see your body language and the way you act, the way you coach them, train them? Or is it a spoken thing by what you're saying? How much of that is spoken versus unspoken, do you think?
It's energy. It's all energy. You can say things and they need to hear it, but they need to feel you. They need to feel you. They need to feel that you, number one, care about them as a person first, right? Before an athlete, person first. And then you got to have that expectations of, you know what, we're going to compete and we're going to be your best and I'm going to challenge you, but I'm here and I'm doing this with you. So they got to feel your energy. When they're working out, I'm like, I try to relate the workout to whatever game they're playing. And then I try to relate it to their life, right? So if they're going to do a squat or if they're doing the vertical jump or whatever, I'm like, we're going to out rebound everybody, you know, we're going to win the boards. Like, this is going to do that, right? So I'm relating what they're doing in the gym to what they're doing out on the court. And then I got to relate it to life. Like, you know, sometimes life's going to be hard, but you have what it takes to get through it. Figure it out. Figure it out. You know, find a way to do this. Is challenging, but how do you find it out? How do you figure it out? You know, I'll give someone an exercise sometimes and I won't explain how to do it. And I'm like, figure it out. You can do it, right? So you're giving them the tools to become a champion within that workout so that it becomes who they are and how they live.
You know, Leslie, every time you coach, you train, whether it's live or I see you, it makes me want to work out. You were leading on the beach at the Mastermind retreat, and I remember you took over the kind of the whistle, so to speak. And the next thing I know, you were like orchestrating 100 people with all these beach drills, and I was fired up. I felt like I was playing football again, and I wanted to like roll around in the sand and get after it. And when you talk about energy, I think that is one of the things that brings not only you to life, those who you coach to life. And I've seen, even in the 13 years I've known you as a coach and as a trainer, you do some amazing things. Obviously, as a professor now at the college, and what you do with hundreds of students every semester, what a blessing you are to be able to impact so many men and women, not only who are you're training and coaching, but also you're teaching in so many different aspects as well. I do want to talk about, you had the opportunity to coach with the national championship football team at USC. What was that like? What was special about that year?
Man, that year was so amazing. I was so blessed to be a part of Coach Carroll and his program and what they built there. What I learned is that you can compete and you can have fun, right? He made every practice so fun. Like, the guys were like out there, they were kicking each other's butt and having so much fun doing it, that a game was like play for them, because they were making practice so hard, right? They're paying attention to the details. Everything. We started behind the line. Like, if you were a little bit on the line, you take it back, do it again. If you didn't finish through, take it back, do it again. So attention to detail, competing on everything, being your best, and protecting the team. He has these little philosophies, and he keeps it very simple. You know, like, be early, no excuses, no complaining, no whining, you know, and compete. And they did that. And it was great to see. And I use those lessons with all the athletes that I train now. Another huge thing that I learned is that work ethic is a skill. And it's something that needs to be developed. And there were some athletes that I saw there that had really, really good work ethic. And when they went to the next level, they lasted longer. Ones that maybe didn't work as hard, when they got to the next level, they struggled, right? And so you can't just turn it on. It becomes a part of who you are. So everything counts. What I took from that in my life, especially, and what I try to teach my students, is to respect the reps, right? Respect the reps. So every rep that you're doing, you're ingraining greatness in you, right? And that is going to carry over to your life. And then also to understand that it takes time to build something. Like, I used to go in and compare myself to the coaches, and I'm like, how do they know that? How do they do that? Well, they spent tons of reps doing that. They spent years doing that. I can't disrespect that rep and think that I'm going to be just as good as them. Like, now I have to put in the time. I have to put in the work. I have to put in the reps, right? So I learned a lot about that, because now I can do it, but I put in the reps, right? I learned it.
Do you think that in some ways has become your ethos for your life, as far as respect the reps, not just in the gym, but you've written a book, you're doing a podcast. It requires a lot of time, it requires a lot of preparation. And I see and I feel the energy that you put into every project that you do. Would you say that's part of your ethos, is respect the reps?
100%. Whenever you do something new, and I have to remind myself this, I'm not going to be the best at it right away, you know? And so there's going to be some struggle in it. I'm going to feel uncomfortable, but I got to do it and it'll get better. Like my first podcast, I was like, I wanted to erase it and delete it and throw it away. You know? But I was like, you know, I'm going to keep this because I'm on a journey and I want to show them that I can grow along my journey as well. Same thing when you become a parent. Like I've coached kids. I was telling my sister this the other day. I have taught for 12 years. I have a master's in education. Homeschooling my 7-year-old, I'm not prepared for. Like that's a whole other level, right? So I have to understand, like, I'm not going to be great at it right away. But if I care about it, I can figure it out. If I care about it, I can figure it out. And I have to be present. That's respect of the rep, is being present in each moment. Right?
You know,
so with that, present.
Yeah, that's huge. I think what you're sharing here, Leslie, is pure gold, because when you think about imperfection, I think perfection often robs us of our ultimate destiny, because we get scared of taking steps or actions because what if it's not perfect? I think sometimes you look back and your most imperfect episodes are your best episodes because they're real and people see them as real. Like even now we're doing this on a Zoom call, and you know, it's not like with fancy microphones and everything else, and it's not perfect, but guess what? No one's life is perfect either. We weren't guaranteed perfection. As a matter of fact, I was talking to a pro quarterback the other day. We were talking about quarterbacks at a young level. And this is for all athletes, by the way. One of the biggest robberies of kids and their athletic success is the fear that they have to be perfect with what they do. So they're not going to take the same chances or risks during a game because the fear of, if I make a mistake. Well, the fear of making a mistake, it prevents you from getting into what we call the flow state. And the flow state is what all athletes, all entrepreneurs, all high performers want, is that flow state, that meditative state where they can just kind of be and perform and trust the reps and trust your preparation on this. So this is pure gold, what you're sharing. You talked about the podcast, and I want to talk about that in a moment, your Developing Athlete podcast. But ever since I've known you, since 2007, you've had an incredible spirit. And I think people feel that spirit, Leslie. And one of the reasons why I wanted to share our community here to you is, and with you, and have you be on this, is because of your spirit. You recently wrote a book called Dear Her. And that Dear Her project has really impacted a lot of people. Can you share a little bit about Dear Her? Why did you write it? Who's it for? What's it all about?
Yeah. Well, it goes back to what's happening right now. We are all in this together. Not one of us is alone on this path, right? And we learn through stories, and we learn through other people's stories. I know your dad was, and your parents and your family was extremely powerful to you. My parents were too, but I was a teenager and I didn't listen to them. You know, they were there saying, you know, we believe in you, you're beautiful, you're this, you're that. And I'm like, yeah, you're my parents, you're supposed to say that, right? I didn't hear that. So I know that to be true for a lot of youth today is they need to hear it from different people, and we hear it through stories. So instead of like lecturing to them, instead of saying, you know, don't do this or do this, or why don't we just share our stories and see, like, you know what, you're not alone, and whatever you're going through, somebody else has gone through it, and you can make it through it. As an athlete, and personally for me, I'm like, I'm strong, I'm fine, I got this. And I don't tell you about struggles that I have internally because I want you to know that I'm fine. And I need to know through other people that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to say, you know what, I don't know all the answers. You know what, I'm struggling right now. But if they can do it, then I can do it. And so that was one of the reasons why we wrote Dear Her, is because we wanted to share the vulnerable side and the real side and the emotions of the journey. And then also, as particularly as a woman, I'm from I'm from the strength conditioning field, right? You have one token female typically on strength staff. So we've always been against one another. Like, why does she get the position? I'm just as good. Why did I get the position? You know? I remember, like, I was going for a strength conditioning job, and they told me, like, you're great, but we already have a female here on staff. If she ever leaves, we'll call you. You know, and they did. She left and they called me. but so we wanted to show, like, we don't have to be against one another. Our success is each other's success, right? So let's celebrate and let's support each other on this journey. So that was another reason why we wrote Dear Her.
So Dear Her, letters to teenage girls and young ladies about lessons learned through education, athletics, and life. Wow.
Yeah. There's 45 letters from different women about their journey, and it's really powerful.
What's the hardest thing you've ever overcome?
Myself, my belief in myself. I lost myself for a while, my belief in myself, and athletic identity was a huge thing for me, and being strong was a huge thing for me. And when I stopped being an athlete, that was tough, right? Because then I was like, who am I? And I turned to alcohol, I turned to drinking, I was partying a lot. And it was a really dark time to start doing things that I'm not proud of, you know, and I had to look at myself and go, what are you doing and how are you living? What are you doing and how are you living? And then I had to take full responsibility for my life. I had to take full responsibility and say, what do you need to do to change? You know, you got to get coaching, you got to get help, you got to get support. And you got to look to God and take action. Like, before, I just pray, like, help me out of this, help me change this, but I wouldn't take any different action, right? So I had to accompany prayer with reflection and then with action. And that happens in every other area of my life. Same thing with business, right? I was lost and I was scared. I had to get coaching. I had to join a group and get support. That's the mastermind, right? And then I had to pray to God and take action despite not feeling a certain way. So discipline over motivation. That's what I've been taught, is you might not always feel like working out. You might not always feel like changing something, but you train yourself to show up, right? You do the discipline first, and motivation will come later.
Yep. Leslie, what would Leslie today tell Leslie when she was 15 years old? Knowing what you know now, looking back, if you were speaking to Leslie at 15, what would you tell her?
Man, that's so hard, because that's how we did the book. It's like a whole long letter, but if I could make it one thing, I would just say, trust yourself that you're going to figure it out. You know, trust God, trust the people around you, trust that life is working for you, not against you, you know? And so if whatever happens in your life, look at it as like, what good is here? What do I get to learn in this? And then how can I use it for my growth? How can I use it for my growth? I think every struggle, that's what we said in the book, your struggle will become your strength. Every struggle is an opportunity to become who you're meant to be, right? So show up for that. Show up and trust that you're on the right path and you're going to make it through.
And what would that 15-year-old girl tell Leslie today? So if that 15-year-old girl, Leslie, was speaking to you, the mom, the professor, the coach today, what would she tell you?
I think she would tell me, you're pretty cool.
I love it. You know what I think she would say?
What?
I think she would say thank you. I think she would say thank you for showing up the way you show up in all your sessions, in all your classes, in everything you do, all your books, because that young girl needs you. That young girl needs the coach who believes in her. The young boys and girls need the parent or that coach, that mentor who's, whether they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s, or above, they need right now in a time that is often filled with anxiety or trepidation or fear, someone to instill that conviction of that you are special. And Leslie, you do that. And I think you at 15 would thank you, who you are today, for showing up with the energy, because I see it. I've known you for 13 years. I know what you do. I know what you pour into people in all different levels, including your own kids, obviously, as a mom. But for anyone listening in today, I think that's what they would tell you, Leslie, because you are one heck of a human being, and your spirit is so special. And it was in October 2007, and you've only grown as a woman and an influencer, and as a coach and trainer and mom and human being, ever since that. So I thank you. I thank you for who you are and how you show up every single day.
Thank you, Todd. I mean, I appreciate that. And, gratitude is more than an attitude. That's another tool that's helped me. It is a way of life. And because I didn't have that coach at 15, I have to make sure that I'm that for the other people. And in order to do that, I have to appreciate the opportunity that I've been given to work with these youth, right? And to appreciate that and appreciate the journey, because, man, it is, they help me and they teach me more than I feel like I give them, These youth today are awesome. Wow. We are so blessed that we get to. So even when they're headaches, we have to thank them, because they are making us better.
I want to end with this. I believe everyone needs a mentor. Everyone needs a coach. I mean, I need mentors. You need coaches and mentors. We all need people that we can be held accountable to, and that we can get things done. One of the reasons you started your Developing Athlete podcast was so that you could impact young athletes and men and women who are striving to be the best in their life. If you could tell an athlete 3 things to remember along their journey of development, what would those 3 things be? Could you talk about that a lot on the podcast? What would your 3 be, Leslie?
We covered it. Number 1 would be respect the rep. Be present in each moment. Honor it. Honor each rep. Okay. And that's every area of your life, every interaction. And then the second thing would be to compete, of course, to compete to be your best. And compete means to bring out the best in yourself and to bring out the best in each other. I don't think you can be your best without helping the people around you be their best, right? So help your teammates, help your parents, help your friends. Know that we're all in this together. And then the third one would definitely be that you can make it through whatever challenge is in front of you. So honor the struggle, seek the struggle. We don't want to be comfortable, because when we're comfortable, we're not growing, right? So seek it, say, how can I grow? Every opportunity in front of you, challenge it, use it to grow and to then become the person that you're meant to be, and enjoy the journey. I'm going to add a PS. Right? Enjoy the journey, the highs, the lows. You're gonna cry, you're gonna laugh, you're going to, celebrate, you're gonna win, you're gonna lose. Like, that's life, right? That's life. We see that in the mastermind. Some people come and they are at the highest, and some people are at the lowest, but they keep showing up, and the next time it's like that. It's like hills and valleys, right? So just enjoy the journey and enjoy it with people you love.
So why now, 13 years later, do you still find yourself in the mastermind?
Because you need coaching and you need to surround yourself with people, right? Every opportunity for me is an opportunity to grow. And I need to get feedback from you. I need to get feedback from my coaches and say, what do you think about this? What do you think about? Because we see things, especially when you're emotionally attached to something. A lot of times you have like this view of it, right? But you can see objectively through other people, right? Like, I could give tons of advice to other people, but then when it comes to me, I might not be able to see that. So I need you, because you're not emotionally invested in it, to give me honest feedback and to look at that. And I love giving. I love giving now. At the beginning of the mastermind, I did not think I had anything to give. Like, why am I here? Now when we get together, it's like, what can I help you with? What can I help you with, right?
Yeah.
I love to give to others. So it's just the energy flow that I need to be a part of.
Yeah. Well, you've always done an amazing job. Even when you think you haven't been giving, your spirit and energy has always been there. And now, as a veteran in the group, obviously as a pioneer, as someone who has been with me for a long time, I thank you for all that you do for so many and for showing up. And you talk about respect the reps and struggling is your strength. Whether it's a daily struggle, whether it's a specific episodic struggle that someone is going through, I want you all to use Leslie as a resource, because she is an amazing woman who epitomizes what Get Your Mind Right is all about, what Impact is all about. And now through her podcast and through her book, you're going to want to certainly follow up with Leslie. Leslie, where can someone find out more about you? They can follow you on Instagram or website. Where can they do that?
Yeah, on Instagram, I'm Leslie T_Coach C. Mm-hmm. And then my website is Leslie C. Trujillo, TRUJILLO.com.
There you go. And I'll put that all in the show notes, guys. But follow her on Instagram, Leslie T_Coach C. Leslie T_Coach C. Because let me tell you what, you see some amazing things in there. I just got to end it with this. Your beach workouts, they are of legend. I've had athletes come down and talk about they've done beach workouts with Leslie. What the heck do you do in these beach workouts that make them such of legend?
Man, we compete, we have fun, and we do it out in the sun.
Man, well, it sounds like Coach Carroll had a huge impact on you, and he's still he's having so much great success up there in Seattle with the Seahawks, and I think anytime you have a mentor that can rub off on you and almost 2 decades later, still influence you, because your voice is very evident with your conviction. So Leslie, thank you for being here today. Thank you for sharing all that you are. Folks, listen to her podcast, the Developing Athlete Podcast. She's got the Dear Her book that you can read, and please feel free to share this episode as well. If you know someone, if you have a son or a daughter that can benefit from it, if you have a friend that can benefit from it, please make sure you share that as well. So Leslie, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Todd. I love you so much.
Love you too, girl. There you have it, my friends. A great episode with Leslie Trujillo. Take a look at the show notes. All the information is in there. Remember to continue to train hard, eat right, live inspired, respect the reps, and of course, your struggle is your strength. Folks, I hope you enjoyed today's episode with Leslie Trujillo. Man, you talk about impact. You talk about someone who's doing amazing things. I love your struggle is your strength. What are you doing every single day to overcome any adversity, any challenge that you face? And we know we're in unprecedented times. And I just want to continue and encourage to continue to respect the reps. Man, respect the reps is what it's all about. Also, you heard the concept today several times of my mastermind group. And if you're a coach and you're a trainer, I want to invite you to look more into the mastermind group. If you, right now with everything going on, if you feel like you need support, you need my accountability, you need my understanding of business or leadership, if it comes down to branding right now and pivoting and changing, perhaps it's on training and programming or just personal growth. If you would like me to coach you through the mastermind group, all you got to do is check out the link. It's called ToddDurkinMastermind.com, ToddDurkinMastermind.com, and all of the information is there. I think the things that are most prevalent and important with the mastermind, number one, you're going to be surrounded by the most amazing community you could possibly imagine. We've got a couple hundred people in there that are some of the finest, passionate fitness pros you're going to find on the planet. Also, when you talk about having the skills and the actual know-how of what to do, when to do it, you're talking about some of the most experienced people in the fitness industry, even beside myself, that will help you with wherever you're at in your walk. And whether you're a green trainer or you've been in the industry for 20 plus years like myself, We all need that strategy. We all need to think about where we're going with things, but also to have a sounding board so you don't feel like you're on an island and don't know where to go. So if you would like me to help coach you to the next level through all that's going on right now, I would be honored to help you with that. Just go to ToddDurkinMastermind.com, ToddDurkinMastermind.com, and I would love that opportunity. Everyone else, remember this, as we go into this summer and we attack, we must keep our minds right. And if you have not gotten your book yet, get your book. Get Your Mind Right is now available. Get it. Go to ToddDurkin.com/getyourmindright. ToddDurkin.com/getyourmindright. And there are some amazing bundles available. If you'd like to get a bundle of books, 10, 25, 100, whatever you'd like to get, you can gift them to family, friends, colleagues, co-workers, your staff, whoever it may be. Make sure you get those bundles of books, or at least get one book. And we've got some amazing just bonuses for you as well. So thank you for joining us today. Leslie Trujillo, you absolutely rock. Thank you for listening and tuning in today. I hope it brought more energy and excitement to your workout, or to your drive, or to your commute, or just more value to you. Thank you so much. Remember, continue to get after it, and don't forget to respect the rep.